Hello. Hello, this is Stephen and Jennifer with Iowa Backyard Farmer, and we are having a day full of pepper tasting trials.
Yeah, and truth in lending here. We already recorded this video, but the sound was terrible, so we have to redo it again, and it's the jalapenos, so we're a little scarred.
There's something about pushing that little record button that seems to it's the signal to the airport. Let all the airplanes depart now. Followed by, and everybody comes home for lunch. And so instead of doing yet one more recording outside, and the wind picked up, so that didn't help. So we're doing this one inside. But it is a redo of jalapenos. And
so we know how hot they are, but you don't know how hot they are. So we're sitting here, we've got some horchata to bring it back down. And let's talk about jalapenos. And I thought these were like the paste tomatoes, and there's not really a lot of flavor difference. But we have found that there is actually quite a bit of difference and heat level in the jalapeno category. And then we threw in a couple of other similar heat peppers that you might use for the same thing, and we'll see what we like, and you'll see what we like too.
Yeah, so where do you want to start? We've got 12 different things here. I think 8 or so are jalapenos. Where do you want to start?
I think we should probably start on the mild side.
Let's start with a mild one.
We just talked about spicy paprika peppers. You may have seen that video, and the last paprika just kind of blew your socks off. Ooh. So let's start back down at the low end.
Okay, so we'll start with Tricked You, which all we've got for green is a couple of tiny little ones. They normally are about this size.
Yeah, they're usually about 4 inches long.
But they're the end plant in our row of jalapeno buckets.
Yeah, so this is how this works. Is I'm cooking and I send one of the kids to go get me a jalapeno, and they pick the jalapeno closest to the house, which is this one. So we've used it a lot.
So we've nearly run out, but normally they're this size. Today we're using one that's this size. So go ahead.
We're a little scared, but I think this one should be okay. This is a no heat jalapeno, so there should not be any spice to it. We want to know, however, if the flavor is any good. And it's
extremely mild, but the flavor I thought was very acceptable.
It's okay. Compared to the paprika peppers that we just tasted, you're not getting the sweetness, you're not getting the richness. It's just kind of a pepper.
It is an acceptable fresh flavor.
So if you wanted a jalapeno shaped pepper with no spice, this would be a good one.
But anyway, I would eat that again. So where do you want to go from there?
Let's go up to the Pot-a-Peño. This is one that we grew this year to put in pots. And again, they have been much bigger, but we're kind of towards the end of the season. They were very productive. They're very mild for us. And
I was surprised at how mild they are. And I don't know if that's because of the variety or the fact that because they're in a container, we have to overwater them almost every day.
And so,
but they're pretty in terms of being in the plant or being in a pot.
Yeah, it's a nice, compact, well-growing plant. The jalapenos do tend to turn red faster than most of my other varieties. It's got a good flavor.
Just a little bit more heat than the Tricked You.
Again, which was none, right? You're getting the sense that it's not a sweet pepper, so you get that it could be a spicy pepper, but it's not doing much. So if you wanted a mild one in a pot is a really good one to do. That's nice and compact.
Okay, here let's do a little swap around.
Yeah, I'll swap this one out.
We're building up for heat. So this next one is the Tam jalapeno, developed by Texas A&M University, and this one we've grown for a decade. Just a very nice, about 3-inch pepper. It does check some, but
it's a good producer.
It's been a really good one for us.
I favor this one generally if I'm making something like a cowboy candy where you want a little bit of heat, but I want to eat a lot of jalapenos.
Yeah.
So this one's not bad.
So and it claims about 1,000 to 1,500 Scoville,
which is about half the heat of a normal jalapeno, basically. And this has the most pleasant flavor to me of the 3 we've tasted so far.
So not a lot of heat on that at the moment, at least for
I
that
know.
particular
Would
bite.
you like another piece?
So
That's how they get you.
as I say, maybe it makes me wonder, since you're cutting the very tips, right?
Yeah, they're going to be hotter.
It makes me wonder if there's like a heat difference between the tip and the middle and the shoulders.
There is. And there's a heat difference if you leave the seeds and pith in or out. So you can see the tip end here does not have that pith or seeds there.
So can we get something that's from the middle is not, that remove the pith?
Okay. See if you can get it up to be a little bit hotter, because it will do that.
So you left a little pith, but
you want a little bit of spice. If you're making a salsa and you want any pepper to be a little milder, just take out the center seeds and pith, and you'll be a lot milder. It's a little bit of spice. But I'm going to say, if you had taken out all the seeds from this would be almost as mild as the Tricked You.
Yeah.
It's really a mild. I'm getting a little sizzle on my tongue.
Just a little bit. So,
but not bad at all.
Anyway, so decent flavor. Compared to last time, I don't know that I liked that one any more than Tricked You, which surprises me, because last time the Tricked You was like, whatever.
Yeah.
So let's bring on the early jalapeno. So early jalapeno is our one heirloom jalapeno that we still grow, just smaller, 2 to 3 inches. It checks really easily, but it produces earlier than a lot of other, even some of the newer hybrids.
And you want me to give you a middle slice on this one too?
So let's try a little bit of a middle slice from it. Claims 2,500 to 5,000.
And again, we're well watered here, so this is not going to be a big deal. But it should be spicier than the Tam. Should be spicier than the others.
Yeah, it should be at least 2 times as spicy as the Tam.
And it is.
I think I will cut mine in half.
So you're getting a little bit of spice on that?
It's kind of building for me.
One thing I noted about this is if you're using this one for cowboy candy, this one has the most seeds packed in it of any of the varieties that we're growing.
So the last round I used ice cream in between. I don't know that I can eat that much ice cream. So what did you make for us this time?
We've got some horchata.
Some horchata? That'll help us out.
That'll help us out.
So that
bring down the heat in between.
The heat, it is definitely hotter than the mild, the Tam Mild. Flavor-wise?
Well, none of these are going to be peppers that you're probably just eating out of hand for fun. And if you did, I would say there's some other varieties that I like even better.
Yeah, I've wondered why people grow the early versus some of the others that are bigger, and the general response is, well, we don't want that big of a pepper that you're going to get out of the hybrids.
Yeah, if you're just doing a little bit at a time, the Jalapeño Early is nice. If you're doing Texas Twinkies or something else where you want a nice big fat stuffable jalapeno, I would go for one of those bigger stuffable varieties.
Are you going to make some Texas Twinkies?
I might. The application of cream cheese in the middle helps take the edge off the heat.
Yeah.
And bacon's not bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're only a third done, and I'm down in my stuff pretty good. That early did have considerably more heat than the others.
Yeah, and it's variable. So towards the end of the season, if it's been a little hot and dry, they'll get really hot.
Okay. Next one up is a new one that we have never tried before, called a Hosinator. And they claim to be a big productive one. So I thought, well, let's give it a try and see how it does.
It is pretty. All the 4 varieties that we have grown here are ones that are nice, big, 4 to 5 inches. They don't check a lot. They're nice and smooth. They give a really good presentation. This one is supposed to be, again, on the mild side. The report was about
2,000 to 2,500 SHU.
So about half strength jalapeno.
I'm still recovering from the early. That was hotter than I expected.
It depends on where from the pepper you're picking. So I'll give you a milder size because I know it's going to be hot, but this one is not really hot.
No, and the previous one that we tried, we were like, it's not very hot, and there's not even much flavor to it.
Yeah. So this would be on the mild side. It'd probably make a really good stuffing pepper.
Mm-hmm.
It grows pretty okay.
Yeah, it
I
grows
like
fine.
it. The flavor is not the best on that one, probably.
Yeah.
It's not my top favorite.
Okay, next up is Jedi, and this is one we've grown for several years and thought, well, it's super productive, big, and we've always been happy with it. And it wasn't until we saw somebody else do a review, and I thought, I wonder if there actually is a difference between all these. Let's give it a try.
Oh, give it a try. So this is Jedi, and I have loved this one for years. It comes out beautifully. Again, if you wanted a nice stuffing jalapeno, it's a good size, nice dark green. I'm going to use one of these slices that's already sliced. See, I'm scared now. I can't remember which ones got me last time.
Well, this one claims 2,500 to 3,600.
So this should be hotter.
So it should be hotter, but is lower on average than the early.
Oh, that one didn't have any spice at all for me. I'm going to have to maybe slice a new one.
So no real spice, but the flavor and texture I like.
Yeah, the flavor was good.
The flavor's pretty good.
Turns out you do need some of the inside if you want it to have any spicy at all. Here, let's take off a couple seeds.
You still love me a little bit,
I still
right?
love you.
Let's not try to kill me off.
Watch the paprika video. We almost did him in. I'm still not getting very much spice on that.
I'm not getting any additional heat, but it is listed as more mild on average than the Jalapeño Early.
And I have grown this with more heat, so
I know it can get there.
I know it can get there.
Flavor's fine.
Flavor's good.
Okay, next one up, Unicron, and this is one I had reached out to Cicada Seed Company and said, hey, can you send me some samples that we can use to grow in our test garden? And this is one that they sent us. They claim 4 to 5 inches. It is basically the same size as Hosnader and Jedi, and when we get to it, Goliath, I guess, is the last one up there. So I don't know that there's anything significantly different for sizes. It does claim 5,000 Scoville heat units.
Supposed to be hotter.
So that's on the higher end for the jalapenos.
I think I'll take a smaller bite.
I'll take out the one seed.
And this one, again, is not giving me very much heat.
No heat at all on that one. That's more mild than Tricked You is for me.
I know it could get hotter, too.
In terms of flavor by itself, with regardless of the heat, flavor-wise, there's not. Kind of reminds me of Hosnader. There just really wasn't anything special about it. So,
Sorry.
So I assume the heat's going to come. Flavors, Anything you'd add to that?
No, it's a good jalapeno.
Okay, so let's come to Goliath. And this one, the plate is full, so apparently that's pretty productive. Another one that's, a bunch of 4 to 5 inches. We brought it in because they claimed it was going to be the biggest jalapeno. And I thought, well, if we're going to do any stuffing, we should try this one.
And in fairness to all of these, they were shaded out for a while by my very big tomato plants that we just pulled out.
That's true.
And so in full sun, under other conditions, these would have been much bigger.
But, still, it's a really nice size jalapeno. We got a bunch of them here. So
yeah, it's growing. If I was winning a prize for the most jalapenos and the best growth, this one probably did it for me this year.
This was the earliest producer for us. I do remember when I went out and you asked for a couple of jalapenos, I went and got you a Tricked You and a Goliath. Those were the earliest ones on. So claims 3,000 to 5,000 heat units.
Yeah. So cheers. Getting a little bit of heat.
It tastes like it's gonna come here.
There it is. That's the hottest one so far, I think.
Although Early got me probably more.
Early got you worse.
Yeah.
But this one has a better structure inside, I think.
It was a very pleasant flavor.
It's a pleasant flavor. I think this one would be a really excellent jalapeno.
I would definitely grow that one again.
I feel a little sizzle on my lips.
Don't rub your eyes.
I know. You missed it. We didn't get video evidence of it, but I went, eek. It's terrible.
So that's it for the jalapenos, but we've got others that are in kind of a similar category. So let's take a look at those.
So we have, those are the jalapenos. Of those, which one is your favorite? And then we'll move on to the next one.
I actually really like that Goliath.
Yeah.
That one, that impressed me overall, and I know it's a sample of one. Tam still has a pretty decent flavor.
For a mild one, it gives me a little heat. I really like that one. And if I was stuck with only pots, the Pot-a-Peño is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that Goliath, the heat is still building even with.
I know, I'm still
horchata.
I'm still drinking a little bit.
More? Yeah, más por favor.
Yes. A little bit more.
Whew. So maybe that did beat out the Early, but it took a while.
To get there. Yeah, my lips from all of them. No single bite was like woo, but my lips are a little.
Yeah, unlike that last paprika one where it knocked me out of my chair, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Black Hungarian. This one looks like it ought to be really hot. Tell me about Black Hungarian.
So Black Hungarian is not technically a jalapeno. It looks like a jalapeno, but during the stage where jalapenos are green, this one's black.
Yeah.
And looks kind of scary, but the descriptions and all the reviews say it tastes like a sweet green bell pepper at the black stage.
Well, and having just tasted all the paprika peppers and some of them from Hungary, I'm predisposed to like this one. And it's beautiful. I love the red and the little dark speckles that you get from the anthocyanins. Whew. Still going, huh?
The horchata is not killing that last one.
It's kind of a slow build. We're like, if you had them in salsa, stretch it out a bit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend just sitting and eating them all plain. Okay. Black Hungarian. And you're supposed to eat them at the red stage for best flavor, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of flavor when they are black, but the red supposedly is pretty good.
Oh, that's really nice. That is fruitier than anything else that we've had on the table. That is more like the paprika flavor from our other videos. We got a sweet, deep, rich flavor. I can't tell if it's any spicier than the others now because it's kind of all.
I can't get rid of the spice.
All kind of spicy, but it's not spicier than what we've had so far.
I don't know that there's a lot of spice to it, but the flavor is really good. The texture is nice.
Yeah,
it's thick-walled.
It's thick-walled. It's
fairly productive too.
Yeah, this is a really nice pepper. Flavor-wise, that's probably my winner.
Flavor-wise, that's
and it'll be milder like the Tam, I think.
And it is pretty.
It's beautiful.
Super pretty pepper.
Okay, our next one. This is called Flaming Flare. This is a Fresno type pepper.
Can we get a little bit more of the horchata?
You're on a little bit more.
Over here. Woo.
The sacrifices you make for science here. All right. There we go.
Thank you.
Yep. So tell me about Flaming Flare. What do we like about the Fresno peppers? They're again red, but they're not.
I'm going to run in. My nose is about to drip.
Okay.
So it is a Fresno pepper, which is not a jalapeno. Oh,
feel better?
That Goliath had way more kick than I was anticipating.
I think it was just a slow burn after all the jalapenos.
Yeah,
they kind of all catch up.
They all caught up, and Goliath is like the trigger that pulled the trigger for everything else.
The overwhelmed moment there.
So Fresno peppers are not a jalapeno. They're very mild, 500 to 1,000 Scoville. Flaming Flare is I think an AAS winner.
It is, and I think it's supposed to be sweeter than some of the other ones.
and so very pretty, but much thinner walls. And so if you're going to make
you dry this one.
If you're going to dry it, it's just going to take more of them to fill your jar when you're done.
Okay. It's got a little spiciness to it, but a little sweetness. I'm going to say it's a little spicy, but it's not as flavorful as some of my paprika peppers. It doesn't have the same richness of it.
It's there.
So if you needed something in a dish where you were like, I need a little bit of a pepper flavor and a little bit of heat, this would probably be good. But if you want it to have super rich, deep undertones,
probably that's not the one.
Probably that's not the one.
But if you're going to cook with it and you want something that's very bright red,
it's a good one.
And not too hot, that would be a good one.
Yeah, it has a little bit of spice. Okay, we have 2 left. Are we going to make it?
I don't know.
After this, we have the sweet bells and the snacking bells. And I don't think you'll get us to taste the habaneros and the cayennes on
no, thank you.
Screen, although we've enjoyed them in pico and other things a little more dispersed.
Okay, so let's go for the garden salsa one next. It's supposed to be a fairly mild one. People have recommended it. I am not quite sure what to do with it other than maybe make a little bit of salsa.
Yeah, so the idea would be you could use this in place of a jalapeno in a salsa. It does say that it's a little bit milder, where most of your jalapenos are 3,000 to 5,000, and about half that for the Tam. Ooh, Fresno's getting me. This one should be about 1 to 1.5 Scoville.
Okay.
So we're wearing that, guys. And we're not even like super the spicy people, so.
Yeah, these are about as max as you'll get me to do, knowingly.
Well, I like the cayenne peppers in the sauce, but use like a 1/4 teaspoon at a time or an 1/8 teaspoon. I don't usually eat them in chunks.
Very thin-walled.
Very mild.
Very mild, soft skin.
Yeah. I don't know that it's pretty. I don't know that I like it better than any of the jalapenos. I've seen people, they're like, I need this garden salsa one. I think the moral of the story is pick a heat that you can deal with that you like, because you'll have the onions and tomatoes and other flavors. I wouldn't just pick it and eat it.
Yeah. So I could take that.
But in a dish, that would be fine. So, and I don't know if we're up for this one either. These are our Serranos. Altiplano, I believe, is the variety.
Yep.
They average about double the heat of a jalapeno. And this has been, and I know you're like, I'm dying here. But generally, all summer long, this has been my go-to for pico. If we're making a fresh salsa, I've got maybe 1, 2 of these in a salsa. And maybe I've even added habanero. And you are eating it like a whole bowl of chips good. So even if we're sweating it a little bit here, you need some heat to cut through all the other stuff.
Flavor-wise, they're
really good.
Really, really good. And yes, that's double the heat of a jalapeno, which I'm not sure that I can handle that right now. But in a salsa, they're really good. I would take that and a pico or a salsa over any of the jalapenos any day.
So for my salsa thing, unless I'm feeding somebody who really, really doesn't like any spice at all, I'm using the Serranos. And there's something in the flavor that is just really nice.
Just really, really, it's a refreshing, delicious flavor.
Yeah. And that heat, it's kind of a slow build. When we taste tested this last time, I was like, that's not really very hot at all, but it kind of like warms you up a little bit.
There, yeah.
But mince it small, put it in a pico, totally fabulous. Do you have any? Go ahead.
So I'm just curious, what put down in the comments what you like to do, how you like to use these hotter types of peppers. If we had to narrow this down and just say, hey, on this,
what are we
out of these 12, which ones do you want to grow next year? What would you say?
That black Hungarian surprised me for the sweetness and the depth of flavor, and it's really pretty when it's red. I would grow that one again.
Yeah, definitely.
As far as just flat out productivity, the one that did the best for me was probably Goliath. I'm getting the most off of that, and they're the most consistent. I thought that one was really good, and probably I'm going to keep growing Tam because when I'm feeding people who don't like a lot of spice, but we need a little bit, or if I'm making cowboy candy, that Tam Mild is really awesome.
And the Tricked You had better flavor and texture than I expected.
Yeah.
So that one, for those who really don't want any heat, I think it's still a really
good jalapeno.
And I think we'll keep doing the Serranos because it brings that flavor that's so unique.
I mean, you are just not gonna generally just sit down and eat these, but it's a really good spice level. I feed it to a lot of people, and nobody's like, "Oh, that's too hot." It's really, really good.
So post your comments, questions, your thoughts down at the bottom, and if you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe and follow us for more information.
Thanks.
So,
Talk to you later.
Bye bye.